Hey everybody, it's Josh, and I got a few thoughts for you for today. So I was thinking about here recently shoring up where you're vulnerable. You know, find out where you're the most vulnerable and focus on that. I like to kind of compare it to when we bought our house. When we bought our house, we bought a foreclosure. We bought a very cheap home, but it was big. But we got it for the right price. When we got it, the doors were barely on the house. The windows were terrible. I mean, you could have just walked in this house. But doing the kind of work we do, you know, and being the fools we are, we're like, oh, hey, we can buy this house, no problem. We'll have it fixed up in no time, which it's been a few years and it's still happening, like everybody else. When you do something all day, you don't want to come home and do it. You know, the mechanic's oil always gets changed last. So, but the first thing we did was we put new doors on, right? We got in the house, we got the house bought, and we put new doors on. It was our most vulnerable point in the house. Anybody could have just pushed the doors open and came right in. So we focused in on that, because it was the most vulnerable spot in our house. Then we went to the windows, right? And then we went to the wiring. And then we slowly have gone from our most vulnerable points and what makes that house the weakest, and we've slowly built. And I think that's a very good comparison for the four things that I like to talk about, which is food security, actual physical security of your house and your family, financial security, and then education and bettering yourself. So what you have to do in your life, I think, is find where you're the most vulnerable. Find what is the most vulnerable spot, the easiest point of access for anything that's trouble in your life, which for us was food. That's why that's first. Because without food, you know, it doesn't really matter anything else because you're dead. So what we did is we started buying bulk food. We started buying in bulk. We started canning. We started buying powdered food that would last forever. We just started kind of shoring up, you know, our supply of food and making sure that we would be prepared in the event that something happens and we're unable to feed ourselves. Oh, that's no good. I hate it when that happens. Okay, so we started with food, right? That was our weakest point. So we've started, you know, we're still canning, we're still buying bulk meat, you know, portioning it out, vacuum sealing it, labeling, cycling through it, making sure that we're keeping our food supply safe for our family. So once we had that, you know, once we had that shored up, once we had a good handle on that, with about a year's worth of food supply, we started getting into actual physical security. So we may or may not have purchased some firearms and some ammunition and a crossbow, because it doesn't require bullets, which are crazy expensive. So we did that, and then we went out and got a big scary dog. So we took care of our physical security, right? So now we've done our doors, which was our easiest part to secure up, which was the food. We got to our windows, which was our actual physical security, if we're going, you know, still using the metaphor of the house. And then we started looking at finances and figuring out where the financial world was going and what we could do to improve our finances long term. And so that's when we kind of found cryptocurrency, and we started investing in that. We started looking into physical gold. We started looking into, you know, things where we could kind of hedge our bets, you know, against inflation, against what I think is the upcoming collapse of the US dollar. And with doing that, kind of rolled into my my fourth basic thing, was educating yourself. So we started educating ourselves. We started watching crypto videos, which, okay, that brings me to a very big point here. We started watching somebody named The Crypto Siege, and I would like to give him a huge thank you. Yesterday, he gave me a shout out on his live stream, which gets hundreds of people. The guy's got a crazy amount of subscribers. The guy, he's huge. He's been in it for years, and I follow him. I try to watch every single one of his videos, and he's been very supportive. I mean, he answers emails when you send them to him. I mean, he talks to you in the chats. He's a heck of a guy, fellow veteran, and I would highly recommend that anyone on here who wants to start getting themselves educated would go and follow The Crypto Siege. So, and I see you, Killis. I saw that you subscribe, and I appreciate it. So yeah, I mean, that's basically so that's the third thing, finances. And like I said, that kind of rolled into the fourth thing, because with that, I started getting educated. I started reading history. I started looking up articles. I started watching videos of people who are real economists who explain to you what's happening. You know, so I got in there. I started listening to Stansberry Research, I Love Prosperity. There's so many of them. There's so many. If you just start looking, there's so many places online that you can start finding information to better yourself, right? So, and then along with that, which obviously hasn't been happening for too long, but I started working out. I started getting myself physically in better shape. I started smoking less. So that's the reason I put those in that order, because that's kind of how I approached it. So I think everybody kind of needs to go through and maybe self-examine a little bit and see, you know, just sit down, think about it. Where are my weak points? You know, where am I the most vulnerable? Do you have food? Amazing. If you have food storage for you and your family, you're doing good. You know, so if you have that, move on to the next one. Do you have enough actual security to protect your family? You know, and it doesn't have to be an apocalypse. It could just be someone breaking into your home. Just get a security system. Maybe make sure you have a dog. Maybe if you're not a dog person, well, cats aren't that scary. You could try it, maybe get an attack cat. But you know, figure out how to secure your family. And then once you've got to those steps, how are your finances looking? And I don't mean, do you have a good enough job to keep food on the table? I mean, are you looking into the future? Are you putting money aside? Are you investing in places that give good returns? And then start bettering yourself. So those are kind of my thoughts for today. If you guys could give me a like and maybe a subscribe and follow and share us, and, you know, just kind of spread the word. And like I said, Siege, I appreciate it. I appreciate the shout out. And we'll talk to you next time. All right. Bye.